Hello, I'm Norma Nessman. The goal of the orchestra is to combine the different families of instruments, woodwinds, brass, percussion, and strings, into a complex work of art that tells a story or makes us feel a certain way. Now, when we listen to orchestral music, sometimes it's difficult to distinguish one instrument from another. The program you're about to see will introduce you to the sights and sounds of the orchestra as you listen to two pieces of music that illustrate the distinct sounds of the instruments. Henry Purcell's musical composition highlights the four families of instruments, and Benjamin Britten's piece focuses on the many individual instruments. While the orchestra members in this program do not play along with the composer's music, they do demonstrate how to handle and play each instrument and show us where in the orchestra each family belongs. As you see the instruments, try to listen and pick out the different sounds, for each instrument plays an important part in the creation of every musical masterpiece. Now, come along on the Young Person's Guide to the Orchestra.
Benjamin Britten has written this piece of music especially to introduce you to the instruments of the orchestra. There are four teams of players: the strings, the woodwind, the brass, and the percussion. Each of these four teams uses instruments which have a family likeness. They make roughly the same kind of sound in the same way. The strings are played with a bow or plucked by the fingers. The woodwind are blown by the breath. The brass are blown too. The percussion are banged. First, you will hear a theme by the great English composer Henry Purcell, played by the whole orchestra, and then by each one of the four groups of instruments. The woodwind are superior varieties of the penny whistle. They are made of wood. The first brass instruments were trumpets and hunting horns. These are their modern descendants. The strings, large and small, are scraped with a bow or plucked with the fingers. Their cousin, the harp, is always plucked. The percussion group includes drums, gongs, tambourines, and anything else you hit. Now let us hear each instrument play a variation of its own. The highest of the woodwind team is the clear, sweet voice of the flute with its shrill little brother, the piccolo. Oboes have a gentle, plaintive quality, but they can be forceful enough when the composer wants them to. Clarinets are very agile. They make beautifully smooth, mellow sound. Bassoons are the largest of the woodwind family, so they have the deepest voices. The highest voices in the string family are the violins. They play in two groups, firsts and seconds. Violas are a bit larger than violins, and so are deeper in tone. Cellos sing with splendid richness and warmth. Listen to this fine sound. The double basses are the grandfathers of the string family with heavy, grumbling voices. The harp has 47 strings and 7 foot pedals to alter the pitch of its strings. The brass family begins with the horns. These are made from brass tubing coiled into a circle. I expect you all know the sound of trumpets. The trombones have heavy, brassy voices. The bass tuba is heavier still. There's an enormous number of percussion instruments. We can't play them all, but here are the most familiar ones. First, the kettle drums, often called timpani. The bass drum and cymbals. The tambourine and triangle. The side drum and Chinese block. the xylophone. The castanets and gong. And before they all play together, the whip. We have taken the whole orchestra to pieces. Now let us put it together in a fugue. The instruments come in one after another in the same order as before, beginning with the piccolo. At the end, the brass will play Henry Purcell's Fine Melody, while the others go on playing Benjamin Britten's fugue.